everyone. We want to welcome you to another episode of the KLC Preaching Podcast. My name is Jared Alcántara, and I am professor of preaching at Baylor University's Truett Theological Seminary. I also get the honor and privilege of being the director of the Kyle Lake Center for Effective Preaching here as well. So glad that you've joined us on the podcast again this month. And I want to rush to thank our special guest, the Reverend Dr. Allison Henderson-Brooks. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yes. Well, one of the things that we like to do on the podcast is just get a chance to get to know our guests.
Sure.
We have so many wonderful Christian leaders, proclaimers. You are currently the senior pastor
Yes.
at Hill First Baptist Church.
Yes.
And you are assistant dean of students at Candler Seminary.
Yes.
So you wear many hats, but before you wore all of those hats, you experienced a conversion to Christ and a call to preach and to lead.
Sure.
And so that's one of the things we like to start with, is just a chance to get to know our guests through learning more about their story. So tell us about conversion and call.
Yeah, I think I was converted in the womb. I'm a church baby on both sides of my family. Fourth generation on my maternal grandfather's side, third generation on my paternal grandmother's side. And so Baptist on one side, United Methodist on the other.
Okay.
And so father was a deacon, mom was an usher, my grandmother was the first woman trustee of our church. So it just runs deep.
Yeah.
My great grandmother sang with Mahalia Jackson. And so I'm just a church kid. Grew up in a church. Our pastor is the co-founder of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the late Reverend Dr. Howard W. Creasy Sr., who also helped M.L. King start the Progressive National Baptist Convention. And so that's who we are. That's who I am. My parents tell the story that at 3 years old, our pastor of the historic Tabernacle Baptist Church in Augusta told them that they should watch out for me because I might be a preacher. And that matters because I have a photographic memory. I would recite his sermons from 3 years old, verbatim, as much as I can remember, back to him. And it's just been that nourishing. And so at the age of 10, I was baptized, super excited about that. And at the age of 15, started preaching. Dr. Creasy, Daddy Creasy, who I affectionately call Daddy Creasy, started to teach me exegesis at 15 before I got to seminary. You know, of course, being Baptist in the American South, women preachers are not necessarily a thing. And his words to me were, you know, you're gonna make me believe that God can call women preachers. And he invited me to deacons meetings. I sat in on catechisms. He said, wear a white shirt and a dark suit. And I've lived up to that up until the past 2 years. I'm branching out in colors now. But that was the beginning of the nurturing of the call. And at 18, I did my father's eulogy by the request of Daddy Creasy, and he stood in a room full of 3,000 people to say, there's a preacher in the pulpit, and the eulogy has been given, and it is not me. And fast forward now 27 years to my call to Hill First Baptist Church. There were two men who were in that room. They're in their 80s. One was the 19th senior pastor and the 21st senior pastor of our church, who said, our constitution and bylaws said that women cannot pastor. They said, no, she grew up under Daddy Creasy. She's well known in the Atlanta area. She's been preaching since she's had pigtails. She's a solid choice.
Oh, wow.
And they changed the constitution, and I am now the 25th senior pastor, the first woman elected to serve. It's actually North Georgia's oldest Black Baptist church. It's the Freedom Church. We still have the original wooden floors and bricks laid by the skilled hands of emancipated and enslaved persons in 1867, and it's still holding us up. And from late 50s, early 60s, it was the brush harbor for the SCLC movement, and the same podium or pulpit that I preach from every Sunday morning. Hosea Williams, M.L. King Sr. and Jr., and so it's historic.
I want to go back to when you first started seminary. So you were still in the hotel industry.
Absolutely. I worked full time.
But
I was managing hotels, taking Old Testament.
That's right. Yeah, at the same time. That's
literally.
Right. Parsing Hebrew verbs.
Listen, before people were high flex, I was high flex, okay? One computer for notes, the other one, I am changing pricing.
Yeah, you were pivoting before everybody talked about
pivoting. That's right.
So back at that time, too, the Lord led you to a new direction in ministry, and it was prison ministry, and it was in maximum security women's prisons. This is where God led you, perhaps in a way that was surprising. Tell us a little bit more about that story and about ministry in that context and what you learned from it and how you use what you are still learning in your work now.
Those women at Lee Arundel State Women's Prison taught me how to pastor. It's a soft spot for me. I tear up every time I talk about them because they showed what resistance looks like. I mainly dealt with women that were that were given life sentences and how they made meaning of their time. There was one woman, her name was Muhammad. She said, I teach the young bucks that you can't just do the time, right? You have to let the time do you. And how can you sort of redeem your time by the ways in which you function inside of this system? And so it was once a week as a part of my contextual formation. The chaplain there, who's been there 38 years, she said, you have a knack for pastoral ministry. And so she sent me down to general population, which is quite overwhelming. You have to know how to discern because you're literally down there. It's 50 acres. You have to establish rapport because at any given time you can be locked down too, and you just have to wait. And so those are some of the most incredible times of ministry. It taught me that you don't get to choose who you pastor.
Yes.
You never know the backgrounds of the persons in whom you're pastoring and what they might bring to you on any given day. And so you have to be prepared. The other piece is that they taught me fidelity to God. When you see women get together and set up 600 chairs in a perfect row and do sound and seating for worship and take their shoes off because they believe that it's holy ground, that they are preparing the sanctuary for worship is just incredible. When you have to sign up to go to worship a month ahead of time, right? It's a different level of engagement, but that really was their lifeline. I've seen women who were given life sentences who are now free. And they are making good use of their time. And so it's been great to do that. I really wish, of course, the pandemic has exaggerated that ability to just walk in and do what you have to do. But I hold those memories in high esteem because they taught me how to pastor. I was like, Chap, I don't know about the medical thing. She was like, if you're going to pastor, you're going to go see folks in the hospital. Yeah. I said, but this is a different kind of hospital. This is a little different. It's a little different. And so I owe a debt of gratitude to Reverend Susan Bishop. She's actually one of the first women to ever graduate from Candler School of Theology. Wow. And she has led contextual education for the duration of her time outside of this year. But they taught me how to pastor. Yeah. So I still keep in contact with several women who are now free on this side. But you talk about a prayer that matters. I learned that devotion really matters when that's all you have. All you have is your Bible and your memory. Yes. And those are quite equipping tools.
That's right.
In this season.
That's right. Yes, yes. It probably also puts congregational complaints in perspective.
Absolutely.
When women are taking their shoes off.
That's right.
And transforming a space into holy ground.
Holy ground. And by all standards of measure, you don't have anything to hope for. By this time, you've served 30, 40 years already. Yes. Your family is either out of money or like you're on your own. Right. You don't get a monthly stipend for new socks and new undergarments or peanut butter chips, right? No, you have what you have, and you make good with what you have. Yeah. It's incredible. I learned how to survive too. If push comes to shove, I know how to make a tuna melt.
Learn a lot about survival.
Listen, with a flat iron and tuna, I learned how to iron with a flat iron. I mean, just all of the ways of ingenuity, That's right? How to make taffy with just hot water. And
Look at that.
It's all the crazy things, right?
Of course.
But I would say the way in which the older women still mother the younger women to say, you still have time to make good with the life that you have, even though you're here. Yes. That's something that you don't see every day. And so I'm blessed to have been able to go behind the wall and be sent to general population where it's 600 women. You're like, if something goes down, you got to be able to take care of yourself.
Yes.
And so it continues to be a foundational formation experience for me.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was at 2023 at this point. So we'll fast forward a little bit. Yeah. So you started that ministry in 2016?
2016.
Through the influence of this person at Candler, and then have a chance to minister to these women and have them minister to you.
Sure.
And then I believe it's in 2023 when you accept a call from Hill First Baptist. Did I get that right?
2021 officially.
Oh, no,
December
officially.
of 2021. I started 2022.
Oh, you started in 2022.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm glad you corrected me. So tell us a little bit more because you become the 25th senior pastor and the first female pastor.
That's
and you
right.
said a little bit about it earlier.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that story. How did God lead you there?
So you know what? I have no idea. That's how it works sometimes. I often in the beginning said, now God, I pass 1 million churches between my house and Athens. So it's a 2-hour drive one way. So it's not close.
Not around the corner.
And I got a call to say they needed a supply preacher. And I am aware of Baptist churches. All throughout my life, people have tried to convince me to convert to either United Methodist or African Methodist Episcopal.
Yes.
I was like, they're not going to call you in the American South being Baptist. And I was like, God doesn't need my help.
Right.
God knows the desires of my heart, right?
Yes.
He knows my lineage and history. And so they called and I said, well, you do know I'm a woman. The deacon said, yes, ma'am, we do.
Yes.
Said, we watched everything on YouTube. I'm like, gosh, so that's good. Called some other figureheads in the South, male pastors.
Including the person who vouched for
the person who vouched for me to say, there's only one name I'm giving you, and it's Allison Henderson-Brooks. Had no idea. And so I think young preachers have to know your work in the community matters.
Yes.
And because someone's got to call your name. And that's the way it works in the Baptist. Somebody calls your name, they take it seriously. So the only Sunday that I had available was August the 28th, 8/28. All things work together. And we had a conversation. They asked me would I be interested in applying. I said, let me talk to God about it. I said, now, wow, this is how I know my male counterparts. They say someone picks up the phone, calls you to tell you that they have a church that's open. I was like, this doesn't happen for women.
All of a sudden it's happening to you.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it's happening to me. And so I said, if God opens the door, we're going to walk through it. And went through the process, saw a lot of the similarities of that. This is what I prayed for when I prayed for a church. People that were kind, had a mind to work. Those were the only two things that I asked God for, and this church certainly did.
Wow.
Funny story. I got married in 2009.
Okay.
And the woman who did our invitations was from Athens.
Okay.
Our church's address is 205 North Pope Street. Her address was 210 North Pope Street.
Really?
My mother, who is sitting in St. Memory now, Pastor, this is the cutest church. And it did not dawn on me until I came back to do my initial sermon. I was like, this is the church my mother said was such a cute church.
Wow.
15 years later.
Isn't that something?
And so it's an ordered step. And so God has blessed us tremendously.
Yes.
We've paid the mortgage off in 14 months. We're about 5 minutes away from UGA. We have chartered a collegiate Black Christians ministry in partnership with InterVarsity at UGA. See about 180 students on campus on Wednesday nights. Of that consortium of students, about 80 of them have joined the church, and I've baptized 25 of them.
Wow.
And in a short amount of time. And so our
yes.
folks have a mind to work. The story of Hill First is known across the country. And so it's my job to continue to add to that rich history. But it was an answered prayer.
Yes.
It's the perfect church for me.
Oh, well, thanks be to God. I mean, and it's always wonderful when God lifts us too.
Yeah.
You weren't trying to knock down their door.
Not at all. I'd never heard of them formerly.
Yes.
I never applied.
And as you said, normally people don't pick up the phone and call women.
They don't. They do not.
Yet they did.
They would call to get a recommendation. Do you know someone? And, you have the undertone of that. Yes, I do. Let me give you 3 names. But God is a wonder. God is a wonder.
Yes.
And my background actually suits the church very well because all of our pastors have either been faculty at UGA. And we are the teachers' church. So 4 former deans of schools at UGA, members of our church, teachers all across Athens, Clark counties, right there. And so it fits.
And you're currently a dean.
And I'm currently a dean. I think that helped a lot.
Yes. Wow.
So, but it's an answered prayer. It's an answered prayer. And so.
Yeah, well, good. Well, now you have this amazing ability to balance multiple things, wear multiple hats. You're in theological education.
Sure.
You have a background in the corporate world. You're engaged in ministry in women's prisons. You're the first woman senior pastor at this church. And you are preaching regularly, and you're being invited to preach regularly in other places as well. One of the things I like to ask preachers, pastors, Christian leaders, especially since this is a podcast about preaching and Christian leadership, is I just like to ask them what their word of encouragement would be. So there's people who are listening or viewing this podcast. They're going to be people of different generations. Some of them are just starting out, preaching those early sermons. They might be in seminary or before seminary. Some of them have been doing this a long time. We're talking people of different races, ethnicities, nationalities, languages who tune in. What would you want to say to them? Because one through line is that they can get discouraged sometimes.
That's right.
So what would you want to say to encourage our listeners, our viewers who preach and who pastor and who are Christian leaders?
That's a great question. And because I'm Baptist, I might give you like one answer with 3 parts, right? So first, God knows.
God knows.
God knows. And because God knows, we don't have to know. And it is our job to be human, to be prepared. Leaders are learners, so you have to read a book. And if you haven't read anything written in the last 6 months, you're behind. But if we prepare, then God knows the desires of our heart. And we have to be prepared to be able to walk through the door in which we are praying and seeking when God gets ready at God's own time. The second piece of information is borrowed advice that Dr. Creasy told me. He said, you will never be worthy to preach in front of people on Sunday morning if you don't talk to God privately Monday through Saturday. And I think seminary students and pastors and those of us that have very busy schedules, we forget about the discipline of devotion. And, we don't always have a whole week to get a sermon together. Sometimes you have to be ready. And so you'll never be worthy to talk to people in public on Sunday if you do not talk to God in private Monday through Saturday. I've kept that. And so I don't play about my devotion time. I get it. I take it. It's the same time every day. Sometimes I need 2 quiet times with God. But listen to God and God will listen to you. And then finally, trust yourself. I think in this season of access, 24-hour on-demand access to preachers, preaching, lectures, all of these, you still have to be you. God can't do anything with a copycat. We are all made originally and differently on purpose. And whatever gift we have to hone that gift because there is some place that is waiting and in need of that specific gift. And if we're not careful, we might co-opt our gift, thinking that it's inadequate or seeking or soliciting someone else's gift. And so God knows, do your devotion and hone your craft and your skill because God has need of it. That's the basic advice.
Yes, that's a good word. That's a good word. We spend a lot of time and energy trying to be somebody we're not.
That's right.
Right? But he knows our frame. God knows our frame.
That's what the psalmist says in Psalm 139.
That's right. We'll keep showing up for us.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes. Well, thanks be to God. Well, thank you so much for that word of encouragement.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the podcast today. We're so grateful for you and are thrilled that you're part of the Baylor family now, the Truett family.
What a joy.
So we're grateful for you. So thank you.
The pleasure.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us once again on this month's podcast. Please tell your friends, hit like, hit subscribe, tell everyone about us. Thanks again for joining us today.